Hey, it's Matt from Gravity Forms. Today we're going to dive into a really cool new product from the folks over at Gravity Wiz. It's called API Alchemist, and we're going to show that in combination with their Populate Anything add-on. I do want to preface this video that it's fairly technical, although I'm going to take this at really 50,000-foot view approach so that hopefully it makes sense. But what I really hope that this video does is broaden your horizons and have an aha moment about what you can do, of course, with Gravity Wiz products, with WordPress, with APIs, and how Gravity Forms acts as that conduit, that glue that connects all of the dots here. This is really powerful stuff, but we're going to try to take it at a very high level here. Okay, Gravity Wiz, Populate Anything, API Alchemist. API Alchemist will go out and knock on the door of an API and say, hey, what kind of data do you have available for me? And allows you to pull that data in to Gravity Forms. It also lets you take Gravity Forms and post data through the API connection. Populate Anything for Gravity Forms allows you to take any data from any source, whether it's on your WordPress website, whether it's another database, whether it's API Alchemist, and pull that data right into Gravity Forms to do stuff with it, to select things from an API, to save it as a hidden field in the entries database. It is another powerful combination. Okay, the stage is set. How do we set this stuff up? So once you have API Alchemist activated, we'll go right into our first example here. For those of you that don't know, 99.99% of WordPress websites ship with what's known as a REST API. And that REST API has all kinds of goodies that you have access to. And what I'm going to show in this example is WordPress co-founder Matt Mullenweg's website, which has the REST API available. And some simple things that it can do is allow you to knock on the door through the API request and say, hey, give me all your posts. Give me all your comments. Give me your post content. Give me the page titles of your WordPress website. There's a million things. Maybe not a million, but there's a bunch of things that you can do through the WordPress REST API. We're going to kind of show you that at a very high level today. We're going to pull posts in to our Gravity Forms just so you can see the concept of pulling data in with Gravity Wiz tools here and how you might manipulate that kind of data in your own WordPress project. And I can imagine that those of you that are building directories of websites, those of you that spend a lot of time in higher ed or in enterprise, especially using WordPress as a true CRM with custom post types and custom fields, you might go, oh my God, look what I can build now and trigger all of these things and send data from one place to another thanks to Gravity Forms and these tools. So that's the sample. We're going to put in Matt Mullenweg's WordPress URL. It's just ma.tt. API Alchemist just automatically knows, hey, I'm going to test this to see if there's an API response here, and it does. There's a longer path here, but we don't need to add that. So we're just going to say Matt's website. Now, again, this is just freely available REST API. There's no authentication needed. Anyone running REST API on WordPress, you can access that content. Think of it as a very powerful RSS feed. But API Alchemist, you can come in and set various authentication types, headers, and you can automatically detect the schema, which is what we're going to do, or you can bring in your own schema if you're building out your own API endpoint that you want to tie it up to. That's it. That's all we're going to do right now, and we're just simply going to click Publish so that we know this is saved and in the database. Okay, when you have Populate Anything available, you can set up any endpoints for Gravity Forms to use. So first thing I'll do is create an endpoint, and we'll say Matt's posts. That's what we're going to name it. We want to pull in the posts from Matt's website. I'm going to leave the description blank, and the endpoint I'm going to search for right here, but you can see all of the endpoints that are available to us just by knocking on the door of Matt's WordPress REST API. You can see all of this stuff is available for us to get. So I'm going to search for posts. And we will find WP-V2 post right here. We hover over that. You can see that sort of action is get posts, like, hey, knock on the door, give me all the posts that you have. And with all of the information that it's going to pull down, author, excluded, modified before, all of that stuff. So we're going to click on posts. And we'll click next. This is a point to modify that response, to filter that response. I'm just going to leave it just like this. We're not going to touch anything. I'm a simple person. This is a simple demonstration. We'll make sure that we can get through this. And you can just see right here, there's the response coming from the API. We can see the slug from WordPress, the modified date stamp, the slug title, the status, it's published, the type, it's a post, the link, here's the full URL. And then if we scroll down, we can see all of the content rendered from that post. So again, keep those thoughts going. What is this aha moment for you as you see how easy it is to access content and bring that in to our setup? So I'm going to hit next. I'm going to leave all of this blank. I'm not going to add any parameters. I don't need to filter anything. We're just going to continue. We can do cache settings. If we need to cache responses for a certain amount of time, we can set that here. I'm just going to leave it at default 5 minutes, and we're going to create that endpoint. If you've never heard the term endpoint before, this is a terminology when working with APIs, and it's like, where do I get all the posts? You go through that endpoint over there. That's the endpoint I want to access to get this information. Okay, so now we're going to update our API connection. So now that that is set up, we'll create a new form. I'm just going to select our simple contact form template, API test, use the template. And we're simply just going for demonstration purposes here to take that response from the connection that we just made of all of the posts and simply show them in a dropdown. Maybe you want to have, maybe you have a collection of media sites in your organization, maybe multiple blogs. You work in higher ed, you have hundreds of college sites or faculty sites, and you want to be able to access all of these post forms. Maybe somebody needs to respond to a certain post somebody made. Maybe you have a custom post type with custom fields, and you need to flag that information for something else, and you need to pull that into Gravity Forms. There's a plethora of ways to approach this. I'm going to bring the drop down in. We're going to title this Matt's Posts. And with Populate Anything active, you'll see these two lightning bolts. Populate choices dynamically, populate values dynamically. Choices is what's going to appear in the dropdown. Values would be the value that is actually submitted to the form. So I'm going to select Populate Choices dynamically. And the type is going to be API Alchemist. Though you can see with Populate Anything, I can pull from other posts, other taxonomies, users, or Gravity Forms entries. So we'll go with API Alchemist. And since we just made that connector profile of Matt's website, it's the only one that's available, we'll click on that. And then the endpoint is going to be Matt's Posts. That's the endpoint we made after we made the connection in the bottom half of that screen. So we'll select Matt's Posts. And now below, we'll see value and label, right? So you are probably very familiar with setting up values and labels in Gravity Forms, right? You have the value, which is the value of the thing the person is selecting, and the label is the actual visual title. So we'll go to value will be the link, and the label will be the title, right? Because that's the post title. And you'll see right here is 10 results found. We're not going to click on that yet. We're just going to hit save form. So we'll save that. And now we will preview this form. And what we'll see right here is, here's our form. New woo to cut a pineapple, simplify, make no little plans. If we go back to Matt's website, we'll refresh this page. His title is here, but it's not showing for some reason. You can see right here, WooCommerce 10.3 is out. It's weird that his title doesn't show that there, but WordCamp Canada Talk, if we go back to our list, there's the WordCamp Canada Talk. So you can see we're pulling in those posts and then displaying them right here in the dropdown. And that's going to update dynamically. As Matt makes new blog posts, the API will say, hey, let me knock on the door of that API, let me pull the posts in and show them dynamically right in this Gravity form. Now, it's up to you what happens next in this scenario. Like I said, we could be pulling in custom post types from your collection of WordPress sites. You're building multiple directories and you want to access one listing from one site to another to buy advertising on that listing or to report that listing, whatever it might be. The point is that API Alchemist allows you to easily connect up to any API endpoint to send and receive data. And you can send data from Gravity Forms to that endpoint or pull that into Gravity Forms. Populate Anything allows you to use that inside of your Gravity Forms and manipulate what happens on Gravity Forms when you submit a form. Gravity Forms is the home base for all of that, and the little side dish of WordPress and the cool REST API stuff that it does. I hope you find this video intriguing and at least jogging some thoughts of what you can do with a combination of tools like this. Check out Gravity Wiz. Links will be in the description below. Check out Gravity Forms at gravityforms.com. Thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want more. Leave some comments below. What do you think you can build with a tool set like this?